No, but we're here to talk about pancreatic cancer awareness.
Yes.
Lisa, for those who maybe don't know, why is this such an important cause to your heart?
Well, as many of you out there would probably know, I lost my husband, Patrick Swayze, in 2009. That was 13 years ago. And we went through a grueling 22-month battle. It was worth every moment. And, you know, he did such a brave and valiant fight. And, you know, he wanted to live. And I feel for all the people out there that are having the same battle. I know what it's like to have a loved one fighting for their life, and I want them to have the chance that he fought so hard for.
How was Patrick's death sort of a pivotal moment for the disease and for awareness?
Well, I think it's, man, it would be his honor that it brought attention to the disease because, you know, I think that just bringing more awareness and shining a spotlight on it. And I think that when I've been able to advocate on behalf of Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, being able to walk in and show his picture and say, hey, look, you know, this is a guy worth saving, and y'all have to do something about it. And you know what? It's up to all of us because it's a deadly disease. It's for this. Like this year, 64,000 are going to be diagnosed and 50,000 is going to die. And that's like an extraordinary number, considering it's pretty low numbers for a cancer, but it's the third leading cause of cancer death. And it's just getting more and more so every year. So it's important to stop it.
Yeah. I know that early detection is so important to be able to stop this. Where are we in the research phase?
That's something that everyone's working really hard on. And once we have early detection, it's going to make a massive difference in this disease because what happens is generally, like Patrick, by the time you discover it, it's already advanced and spread through the body, and there's not much you can do about it. You know, you go and you do all your treatments and your chemos and all that, but it's a real uphill battle when you start from that place.
The start on, yeah.
Yeah.
You do have Purple Stride coming up. I'm curious to know how many people are going to be walking.
Oh my gosh, I wish I knew.
Ballpark number.
You know what, a ballpark. I don't know, but I tell you what, I was in New York City for a Purple Stride several years ago, and I tell you what, it was a sea of people out there. And it was just so wonderful because anybody who's involved with these walks and that they show up, they are so committed, they have such joy and passion about what they're doing, and it's just, it's so special to see, and it's an honor for me to be a part of them.
And will you be walking this year?
Oh, well, yes, I'm going to be there.
I will be there.
I will be there. I will be there along with Frankie Privet, who wrote The Time of My Life.
Oh, that's going to be so great. And will you be wearing purple?
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be purple everywhere.
Big purple wave walking through here.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. I want to talk about your love story with Patrick, obviously one for the ages. We did an interview with you back in I think 2005, and you said that you two met when you were teenagers.
Yes.
What was it about him that attracted you to him?
Oddly enough, Patrick had kind of this reputation of having a big head. He was so good at everything that everyone thought he was like really stuck up and full of himself and everything. So I'm like, he's not going to get to me. And the first, my first contact with him was, I was walking into the theater where we were doing work. He was walking out and he reached over and pitched me on the butt and said, hey, cutie. And I was like, please. He just proved everybody's point. Well, cut to, you know, hey, you know, we started seeing each other and things grew, and all of a sudden I'm going, you know, something special started happening. And oddly enough, when I first met him, even though we were very cautious around each other, you know, there are some people just have that sense that something's going to happen between them, and that's what it was for me. I didn't know it was going to be 34 years of marriage, but I was absolutely sure something special was going to happen between us.
You said you were cautious. Why young love? I mean, what's there to lose?
Oh, well, you know, well, just because he had this Casanova reputation, and of course all the girls, you know, are crazy about him for sure. And yeah, he had this Casanova reputation, and so I wasn't going to have that.
That's so funny to hear. I think a lot of people they think about Patrick Swayze, the screen icon, being so romantic. Is that how you experienced him as well?
Well, I kind of challenged him once on one of our anniversaries. We were in Sedona. I challenged him. I said, you know, why can't you do something romantic like we'll have dinner on a cliff and have a blindfolded violinist playing for us, right? And you know what? He had it organized by that evening. We had dinner during sunset, and there was a blind violinist playing. So he was very romantic. He was a very dear and tender, and he was just a man who loved deeply.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he takes good direction too, which is always
yeah.
Got exactly what you wanted there.
Yes.
When did both of you know that you were the one for each other? You said that there was something that you could tell, but when was the moment you're like, this is life?
Well, that's a complicated question, actually. You know, interestingly, he was in New York City doing ballet. I was still in Houston, Texas. And he would come back often, and every time he'd come back, he's told me later he really wanted to see me. And at one point he wrote me a letter, and he said, when you still wrote letters, wrote me a letter and said, you know, I think I found somebody that I really care for. I think I'm falling in love with this person. And oddly enough, I didn't get jealous, you know, because I didn't feel like I had rights on him. And I went, wow, that's really wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And oddly enough, at that moment, I went, you really like this guy. You know, if you have that reaction to that you care so much about him, that his happiness means that much to you. Of course, I didn't work out with that person.
Well, clearly. Well, we're glad that it didn't. I wanted to show you this video. I'd mentioned that we were with you guys, I think, on your ranch back in 2005. This video is so cute.
Because we actually just passed our 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh,
We were married 30 years.
that's,
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, early June.
We're just still trying to figure out whether we get along or not.
Yeah, we're not quite sure.
We were forever trying to figure out if we were getting along or not.
That's so funny. What was it?
We were both very passionate people. Yeah.
I completely understand that. What do you think it was, the secret to an enduring love story like that?
I love it when people say you don't leave. And for us, it's like we went through some tough time. It was very stressful, the life that we were living. But you wait 5 minutes, it'll change. And I have always kind of felt sorry for people who called it quits, because sure, we went through our times when things were really tough, but you come out the other side and you're different with each other, and hopefully you work on growing together. And the longer we were together, the more I would look and I'm going, man, these people don't know what they're missing out on when they leave too early. Because, you know, there are some amazing things that can happen if you hang in there. And it's got to be right. It's got to be right for you, for both people. But it's worth working through.
I know you talked about this earlier, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing Patrick's cancer diagnosis, how you found out about it, and how you two navigated that together. I know that you had said that he had this zest for life that you really wanted to take hold of.
Yeah. He didn't want to leave. You know, he really didn't. And I remember one time we were in New Mexico on our ranch, and we're walking, and it's kind of a misty morning, and you know, and he welled up with tears, and he says, I want to live. And it just broke my heart. But on the diagnosis, you know, he came to me one day and he said, do my eyes look yellow? I said, yeah. I said, we should get you into the doctor. He goes, oh, maybe next week. I said, no. We need to go tomorrow because this is not normal. And we went to the doctor, saw him that day. He saw got us in that day when we said what was going on, immediately sent him over for CT. And then he had after that, he had a week later, a grueling week later, he had an endoscopic surgery to get a biopsy and confirm, and which the doctors confirmed it was pancreatic cancer. He was all doped up from the procedure, and I just couldn't tell him, you know, when he was not fully conscious. I didn't think it was a good idea. I slept in the hospital room with him, and when I woke up in the morning, the doctor was sitting there, and I knew he had told him. And as with many people, even though this doctor was one of the positive ones, he did say, you might look at getting your affairs in order. Of course, we're going to fight, but get it together. And after the doctor left the room, Patrick turned to me and said, I'm a dead man. You know, because pretty much I didn't know much about it, but he did. And pretty much anybody had heard that had pancreatic cancer, it was like, you know, they're out of there. And yeah, those were his words, they're out of there. And, but, you know, a diagnosis of cancer, and people have gone through it, it turns your life on a dime. And it's just, you know, you're never the same after that. And you go into a process of learning all these things that you never wanted to know, but you need to know, because you have to fight for you're fighting for someone's life. They're fighting for their own. So it took us on a journey, and we were lucky enough to get him in a clinical trial that he responded well to for like 8 months. And then it was on to other treatments and things like that. So it was a tough battle, and he's just, you know, he showed himself to be a true hero through the whole thing. He really, in a way, you know what? He had a rock by his bed that said, I want to be the person my dog thinks I am. You know, so, and actually his facing cancer is like, he was the man he always wanted to be and the hero he always wanted to be. You know, because he did it with such grace and wisdom and kindness and love.
Is there ever a moment where you feel like Patrick's presence is just sort of around you?
Every day. Every day. And I still talk to him in my head. I still hear what he would say. After 34 years of marriage, you kind of know how they're going to react to a lot of things. And most of the time, he's just, you know, if I get scared about something or whatever, he's like, come on, girl, you got this. You know, he's always kind of bucking me up in my head. And of course, it's wonderful to see that his work is still out there and still admired. That was one thing he wondered about his legacy. And I don't think he needed to wonder one bit, because he did some iconic movies. I mean, how many actors have had the privilege to have in their arsenal, like Dirty Dancing, Ghost, Point Break, Roadhouse? It's just, you know, he left behind a great body of work, and I know he would have been very pleased about that, because he put his heart and soul into it.
We can definitely see it showing up on screen.
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing, like you just mentioned this is
Yes.
the film of all films. Especially as dancers, I'd imagine must have been an incredible opportunity for you both to be able to just live in that dance world for a while. Do you remember about, I guess, the audition for that role and when he got the call that he'd secured it?
No one's ever asked me that question before.
Yay! Yes! Yes! Great. Tell me the story. I'm so excited to hear it.
It's kind of interesting because, you know, he read the script and he kind of went, you know, he thought it was kind of a summer camp movie night type of thing, and he had some reservations going into it, because he thought, okay, I don't know how good this movie's going to be, and if I put myself out as the dance dude, you know, is that going to hurt me getting real acting jobs? You know, because he'll forever be the dance dude. He was very concerned about that, and that he wouldn't be taken seriously. So it's kind of a mixed blessing when he got the part. You know, and of course, like I say, he puts his heart and soul into everything, but he was like, okay, we're going to give this a shot. If we're going to give this a shot, it's going to be my best one. So I think he did it.
I had read that the famous lift, that was like a one and done, but that he just did it on the spot that day. Is it true that it was improvised?
No, it's not. He'd been doing that all the time. You know, we call that lift the angel lift, and you know, we did it together. You know, and stuff, and it was one of his tricks. You know, got it in the bag, and so. But I think when he got on set, I think it was one time he did it with Jennifer. But one thing about Patrick, and which he told Jennifer and any woman he ever partnered, he says, "I will never drop you. I will always have your back." And you absolutely trusted him that he would have you. He would not let you get hurt.
You also had mentioned Ghost, of course. I think that's something that whenever anyone thinks Patrick Swayze, they immediately think the pottery scene. Ghost came 3 years later after Dirty Dancing, and I know that you had to convince him to take that role too. So it sounds like you were really the magic person behind all of his best roles.
Oh, we were very much a partnership, and you know, all these decisions and stuff like that we always made together. But Ghost, yeah, he was terrible at reading scripts. You know, you just had to blackmail him to read scripts. It was just really difficult for him. And I think I tried to convince him to read Ghost for over a month. Wow. Yeah, it was crazy. And then finally, it was like such victory. Finally, he sat down and read the thing. And I remember I was sitting in the bedroom, and he came walking in the door with the script in his hand with tears in his eyes. He says, "I have to do this movie." And I'm like, yes. It was another, yes.
Good, proud moment.
Yes.
It's been announced that Channing Tatum is attached to a Ghost remake.
Yeah.
They're going to update some things, change things around. I'm curious if you know anything about that and what you think about Channing.
I don't know anything about that, except for what they've printed in the papers. And of course, there's all the hubbub of like, what's he thinking, you know? And you know, we'll see what happens. And of course, they're doing sounds like a very interesting remake of Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, who Patrick loved. He loved Jake.
For Ghost, for this remake, I'm just curious, do you think that Channing Tatum would be able to carry it the same way, I guess, as Patrick would?
Wow. I don't know. You know, I think that one of the things that made Patrick so good in Ghost, and you know, the writer and director caught me one day. They were at the premiere of the musical Ghost, and they were so lovely because they really acknowledged Patrick and his contribution to the movie, and it wouldn't have been the same without him, because he brought such humanity to the role, and that was so unique. They just didn't feel like anybody else could have done what he did in that part. Now, everyone's different, you know, and maybe Channing's will be great in its own way. So, but it's a wonderful story. You know, it's a wonderful story. It was a wonderful script. Patrick saw it when he read the script and came around the corner and said, "I have to do this movie." And yeah.
And it's fun because there's now a whole new generation of people who are being able to enjoy Patrick's films too, which is a lot of fun too. They can live on.
Oh, with Dirty Dancing, it's like when he was still living, he joked that he was on his third generation of fans from Dirty Dancing. It's kind of hilarious. And he said he started getting a little worried when some young woman would walk up to him and say, "You know, I wasn't even born." It wasn't even born when the movie came out, you know, and they're these fans, and so he thought it was pretty hilarious. Yeah. And the generations keep multiplying because it's such a wonderful movie.